You are making the world a better place by listening to the Joy of Living podcast. This is your guide to achieving a more purposeful, powerful, and positive life. Join Barry Shore in unlocking the best version of you and becoming happier, healthier, and wealthier. And now, here's your ambassador of joy, Barry Shore.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved immortal beings, and good-looking people. You're good-looking, so always looking for finding the good. You found good in abundance because you've chosen to consciously and conscientiously tune into the joy of living with your humble host, Barry Shore, the ambassador of joy. Notice I didn't say the ambassador of joy. The ambassador of joy, and you're going to be filled with joy today when you meet our special, wonderful guest. Jeffrey will be with us just a few moments. I want to share with you a couple of insights and tell you how wonderful it is that you're here, because the reason you tuned in is the best reason in the whole world, because you care the most in the entire world about you. Y-O-U. And that's great, by the way, because when you become the best you make the world a better place. You build more bridges of harmony, create more joy, happiness, peace, and love in the world. And you know that you tuned in because in this show, we discuss the three fundamentals of life. And when you use these three fundamentals, the result is you're happier, healthier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that? So the first fundamental is life. Your life has purpose. You lead a purpose-driven life. You go mad. Now, when you go mad, the result is you make a difference. So you lead a purpose-driven life, you make a difference in the world. And the third fundamental is to unlock the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. As an example, this show is carried around the world. 529,000 people right now tuned in from all over the world. And we thank you so much for doing that, because you're always telling your family and friends, hey, you got to listen to this. And we want you to share this with 5 people. You want to share with 50 or 100? That's great. But at least 5 people to share with it, which you can touch millions of people around the globe. And this show is carried over the internet. Now, if you ask anybody, what does www stand for? Invariably, it has to do with the internet. They're right. However, in our world, the world is a positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. www stands for what a wonderful world. And what is the word, right? W-H-A-T-A. Of course, tip of the hat and a big thank you to Louis Armstrong Satchmo for enabling this show to go viral and touch so many millions with the song, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, billions of people around the planet know what a wonderful world. Whenever you hear the opening bars of what a wonderful world, what do you do right away? You can't help but you smile. Now, smile is one of the most important words you have to internalize, utilize, and leverage in your life, because smile stands for seeing miracles in life every day. That's right, seeing miracles in life every day. Now, I got to tell you a quick story. It's about me. And imagine I'm standing up in the morning, completely healthy and hearty, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. And that evening, I'm in the hospital, totally, completely paralyzed, my neck down. It's called quadriplegic. And it was not because of an automobile accident. It wasn't a spinal injury. It's a rare disease that took over my body and rendered me unable to move. I can only communicate by blinking my eyes. I was 144 days in the hospital. I was in a hospital bed in my own home for 2 years. I couldn't move. I was in a wheelchair for 4 years. I had braces on both legs, my hips, my ankles. That was progress. Thank God today I'm able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand. However, I can't walk up a stair by myself. I can't walk up a curb by myself. I have help 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. However, you hear my voice, positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, all because of one word. One word, smile, seeing miracles in life every day. Now, I got to tell you something. I'm privileged to speak to people on a regular basis, not only in person. Recently, I did a talk with 1,127 people telling the story about Barry Shore, and some people raising their hands and say, hey, Barry Shore, been out for hours, or I've seen any miracles? And I asked them, are you here? Can you hear? Can you stand still? I can't do that. Can you walk? I could barely do that. Do you have water to drink? Do you have food? Do you have a place to sleep? Do you have family? Do you have friends? Every single one of those is a miracle. What's the proof? Simple proof. 1 million people didn't get out of bed this morning. You know why? They died. By definition, if you didn't, you're watching. It means you have an obligation to live life to the full, to live exuberantly. So before we bring on our amazing guest, wonderful Jeffrey, I want to just share with you something that happened just recently. My 8-year-old niece comes over to me a few weeks ago and she says, Uncle Barry, can we spell smile S-M-I-E-L? I thought about it. Smile sounds the same. Why not? Ask her how come. She says, because then it would stand for seeing miracles in everyday life. Out of the mouth of an 8-year-old. But what was she doing? She was creating the kind of world she wants to live in. Now, CREATE is a fabulous acronym. It stands for causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. I've been working with people for more than 4.5 decades. And I can tell you something, 97.2% of the people that I work with, they are on paper, they look great, except for one thing. They have dropped the F in the word shift. We're talking about shifting perspective. If you drop the F in shift, the other stuff happens. Got to be effing careful with your Fs. And the result of that is that you'll be able to internalize, utilize, and leverage the 6 most important words you'll ever learn. And these are choice, not chance, determines your destiny. How you choose to respond to any given situation will determine your path in life and your trajectory. Now, before we bring on wonderful Jeffrey, I just want to urge people to understand, I use a lot of 4-letter words. I even use a 4-letter FU word, and I do it for the shock value, and it's fun. Now, of course, the 4-letter words that we use, because we live in the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, are love, life, hope, play, free, give, swim. And the 4-letter FU word is fun. That's right. FU, capital N, capital N. So after the show, you see family and friends twinkle in the eyes, smile on your face, point your fingers at FU, everybody. Remember to add capital N, capital N. Where'd you get that? Listen to Barry Shore. Wait till I tell you what I heard today. Now, before we bring on an amazing Jeffrey, I want to urge everybody to use the 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day for now the rest of your life. You'll be happier, healthier, and wealthier. These 2 words are thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank stands for to harmonize and nurture kindness. KIND is a fabulous acronym. It stands for keep inspiring noble deeds. I can't think of anybody I want to share with you that inspires noble deeds more than amazing, wonderful Jeffrey Sanow. Jeffrey, please say hello to 529,917 people around the world.
Hello, over 500,000 people around the world. I can't remember what that number was. So we'll just go with over 500,000 people around the world. Greetings, and thank you very much for this opportunity.
Well, it is such a delight. By the way, if I started telling everybody all the things that Jeffrey has accomplished and is doing and continues to do, take the rest of the show. But I am going to give you 3 things. You ready?
Yes, sir.
He is a highly respected expert on global intelligence. You're going to be learning about that. The other thing is that he's been doing stuff for 35 plus years in the international sub-Rosa operations community. That's right. Secrets. We won't discuss all of them, but we'll discuss some of them. And the other most important thing is that he's a leadership coach. He knows the L word and how important it is when it comes to not only an organization and a family, but oneself. So we're going to talk about leadership a lot right today. So Jeffrey, first of all, I am so humbled and honored that you're here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There are my 3 thank yous for today. So let's just jump right in and start talking about what you do, how you do it, and you've expressed yourself so well in books. Let's talk about one of the books that you really like and I like, and I think people should know about. So everything you want to know about Jeffrey is in the show notes. So you don't have to write anything down, just experience him. This great book with a fabulous title, HUMINT for humanity. HUMINT stands for human intelligence for humanity. So okay, what does it mean? Why are you being so secretive about this, or just part and parcel of your very being?
Well, HUMINT stands for human intelligence. And I spent many years working and collecting human intelligence. I spent many years in business. I spent many years in the Peace Corps. I've lived in numerous countries and traveled to numerous more. So I've had a good look at humanity. I'm a skinny little farm boy. Well, not skinny anymore, but I used to be a skinny little farm boy from a farm in Ohio. And I decided, I think, as I mentioned in my book, I didn't have a great family life. I'm not complaining. I'm not blaming my mom. It's not her fault. But that inspired me to seek my adventure elsewhere. So after 2 years at Ohio State, it was like, okay, I'm done with this. I was done with the cold winters. The snow, the wind that whistles between those buildings in January is just murder. So that's when I joined the Peace Corps. And at the age of 20, that's when my grand adventure began. And frankly speaking, many decades later, I like to think it's still going on. So
I want to put you on pause for a moment, just because we have a worldwide audience, thank God. And you and I are similar age. So for you to say to me, Peace Corps, okay, I understand it. Most people, again, you'll don't do it right now, but you'll Google it later, or ChatGPT, whatever. And so you were inspired by President Kennedy and the things that he was talking about, of reaching out as the great experiment called America to help other people, because that's really what the Peace Corps is about. The Peace Corps, in my humble opinion, was about going to other places and being as much a listener as a doer. Is that fair to say?
yes, but you're giving me way too much credit. I was a college boy at Ohio State University, and I'm standing in the bus stop by the agriculture campus, and there's a little poster in the corner that says, join the Peace Corps. And the office was about 100 feet away. Office is still there today, same place. And so I went and talked to the guy. I missed my class. I left with my application. And, roughly 4 or 5 months later, I was on my way overseas. For me, it had less to do with, the higher calling that you're referring to with John Kennedy and Sergeant Shrive. No, for me, it was all about escape. I'll be honest.
Okay, where did you get posted to? Was it warm?
It was Tunisia, which is in North Africa. Because I always wanted to go to Africa. I did not realize at the age of 20 that North Africa and Africa are not the same thing. So that's okay. My first tour with the Peace Corps was in Tunisia. I learned to speak Arabic. I still have friends that I stay in touch with from then, many decades later. So it was a great adventure. You learn humility when you were a 20-year-old boy trying to tell farmers, because I worked on agriculture equipment, that was my specialty, trying to tell farmers how to use their equipment more efficiently when they've been doing it for 50 years. You're just some skinny little white boy from Ohio. They got no time for you. They ignore you. They fed me well. They were always courteous, always kind, always invited me for lunch, and didn't really care a word of what I said about anything else. So that was my introduction to learning the world of humility.
So
that's a hard lesson. I'm not thinking about it.
Let's have a lot of fun. The title of your book is HUMINT and Humanity. I think that really there's a sub-rosa title, the 3 H's: HUMINT, human intelligence, humanity, and humility.
Absolutely.
If you the greatest of all lessons.
If you are going to experience this world, if you do not do it with some degree of humility, it will be taught to you. And I think it's taught to most people, myself included. And it's important that you learn those lessons, because if you don't, then you will not get any place. If you can't be humble in your own world, in your own mistakes, in your own life, and recognize that there's a whole lot of stuff out there that I'm not very good at. 20-year-olds don't know that. I learned that. It was taught to me the hard way. But that's just part of growing up. That's just part of life.
So I'm going to ask you, as a 20-year-old from Ohio, going to a place called Tunisia, right? That's what you said.
Yes, sir.
Tunisia is a very ancient place. Not the same people that have been there for these same thousands of years. However, it has a deep history. And were you somewhat amazed at learning about history of Tunisia and the different countries that conquered it and all kinds of different places? Were you able to travel around this country at all and begin to experience what it means to meet people who don't even know about the United States when you were 20 years old? Because that's half a decade ago, half a century ago almost.
Yeah, well, I was very blessed. I mean, at the time, the first part of my first year there, I was in a little village. It's called Karankat, or 44. It was 44 kilometers outside of Tunis, and there were some great people there. I am still in touch with my Arabic instructor from that village. He has a daughter that I held as a baby, lives in Canada. So I stayed in touch with them, and you learn the important things in life when you don't have a choice. If you have a choice, you don't learn the hard stuff. Who's going to do the hard stuff if you don't have to? In that position, I had to, and I did. And then after that, I went moved to Tunis, but I was working nationwide on farm machinery on a USAID project. So I got to travel a lot of the country. And yep, I got to see the Colosseums and some of the old Roman sites. Carthage is there, which is the part that's not underwater anyway. So it has a fascinating history. It has an old history. It has a more recent history of World War II, when the Nazis were there. It's a French colony. So, I mean, it's got quite a mixed bag in a good way of history. The people are very, very nice. Like I said, I'm still in touch with my Arabic instructor from when I lived in the village. And I actually sent him a copy of my book because he's mentioned in my book. So it just gives you an opportunity to learn what this world holds. And it holds some tough stuff. It's not what we see on TV. It's not Dick Van Dyke. Or whatever, pick a show that you like to watch.
Tyler Moore.
Tyler Moore, Cheers, whatever. That's not the world that 99% of the people live in. And I was blessed, and I consider it a blessing, although some of the lessons were hard, to learn some of the lessons in my 20s, early 20s, about how do things work? How do things happen? I'll give you an example. I was helping this one farmer with his equipment, and afterwards he invited me over to dinner. And so, it was just me and him, and they were all very generous. They were very generous with what they had. They were generous. So I sat down at the dinner table, and he puts this round thing on the plate in front of me. And I was like, yeah, what's that? And when you get this answer, you always got to worry. Go ahead and eat it first, then I'll tell you. Well, given the environment, it was like, okay. So I went ahead and ate it, and it was delicious. And when I got done, I said, so what did I just eat? He said it was stuffed sheep stomach. It was delicious. It's a specialty from that part of the world. We in the United States think that all those kind of bits and pieces get thrown out. They don't. They get ground up and made into sausage. We eat them all the time. We just don't realize that. So
the good news is that you knew, or at least I hope you knew, that you weren't going to eat anything like a pig. In other words, the worst it could be would be some sheep stuff. Okay, yeah, very nice.
I knew it wasn't going to kill me no matter what.
Right, because they're eating it. Right. They're not there to hurt you. By the way, this is a good segue, and we'll talk about right after the commercial break. This, from humility, which is an H word, we want to move into the S word, the beginning of your last name, not Sanow, but service. And what I'd like to do when we come back from the break, because we have sponsors that love our show and support, and we wouldn't have them on if we didn't think they're worthy of your time and attention. So we vetted them already. And I'd like, Jeffrey, if you'd be kind enough to speak about this real driving issue called service. In other words, you grew up from a kid in your 20s to saying, I'm going to see the world. And now with thought, I'm in service. So we'll be right back after this brief message. Don't go away. There's more Sanow on the other side.
Hello, skincare connoisseurs. If you think you have tried everything in skincare, you are going to love what I am about to tell you. I'm pharmacist Benjamin I. Fuchs. I'm a dermatology pharmacist. And what I've discovered in my compounding pharmacy after decades of working with patients with skin traumas and skin diseases is the missing link in skincare is topical essential nutrition. And because of this missing link, we're not maximizing the potential of topical skincare. We're leaving skin beauty and skin health on the table. And that's why I formulated my Truth Treatments. Listen, the skin's an organ. It needs and wants and craves nutrients, vitamins, minerals, amino acids, fatty acids, and plant-derived minerals, and now it can get them in super high concentrations in my Truth Treatments. Originally formulated for dermatologists and their patients, now they're available to you. Check them out today at truthtreatments.com, and I know you are going to love the truth.
Good day. Beautiful bonds with beloved immortal beings and good-looking people. Good looking, so I was looking for and finding the good. We found good in abundance. Our cup runneth over with good. His name is Jeffrey Sanow, and he's talking about leaving cold Ohio to say, I'm going to go to the Peace Corps, go to Tunisia, which is in northern Africa, thinking I'm seeing Africa, and recognizing, wait a minute, Arabic Africa, northern Africa, is much different than sub-Saharan Africa, much different than other parts of Africa, but that's another story. And he learned a great lesson. It's called the H word, humility. And now we're going to ask him to go from humility, which he had to learn, to service, which he's now dedicating himself to. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so talk to us about, what does service mean? Are you in service to the Lord? Are you in service to yourself? Are you in service to what?
So I would say initially I was in service to either the U.S. people or the U.S. Constitution. And I have served those two on and off through most of my career. And I don't think there is any other greater service. Notice I did not say U.S. government. I said U.S. people and Constitution, because that's who I serve. I was in service during various presidencies of people who I did not necessarily vote for, but that did not impact my service because I was in service to the U.S. people and the U.S. Constitution. And that's an easy distinction to make. And I did it, and I loved it, and I would do it again.
I'd like to unpack this, Jeffrey, because again, we have a worldwide audience, and I am of the opinion, because I get emails and texts from people all over the world, everybody wants to live in America. And if they can't live here, they want to have an American mindset. And again, the people who listen to our show, it's not everybody. Some of them don't. They don't get it yet. The American mindset, I think, is beautifully expressed by what you just said. There is a unique experiment in the history of the world called the United States of America. The people here are welcoming people. You come to America, and within, let's call whatever number of times, 5 years, 10 years, certainly by the end of a number of period of time, you become a citizen, God willing, and you're an American. Unlike almost any other country in the world, you could be there for 14 generations. You may not be part of that country, part of that culture. The other thing is that makes us unique is the Constitution. We are a nation of laws, and we are a nation that recognizes that this country was founded and lives for a way of life that is called, for want of a better term, Judeo-Christian values, Western civilization, that is embodied in the U.S. Constitution. That's what people around the world want, love, and respect, and really aspire to for their own lives. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir. That's absolutely correct. And I think that service is what we live for largely in this country.
Thank you. And again, that's the American mindset. And that's who you are, not were. That's who you are. And throughout your decades of service, and let's even use the term, the CIA, the Central Intelligence. It's a unique place.
Yes, it is.
Talk to us about that, would you?
So the first thing I'm going to say is that the American people should take great pride in the service and the people that are dedicated to serving this country. I can only speak about the CIA, can't speak about the military, but I can tell you, the folks in the CIA that serve this country that put this country and our Constitution and our people ahead of everything else are the finest that this country has to offer. They put everything aside. They don't do it for money. Okay, you get a reasonable living and then you get a reasonable retirement. All right, but you are not getting rich. So they put all those things aside to work on behalf of the American people. The people that work inside the CIA, the operations officers, they leave their families for days, weeks, months, years at a time to go perform their duties in the intelligence world and on behalf of the U.S. Constitution and the U.S. people. You have analysts that spend hours and hours and hours working to analyze the intelligence that's collected and prepared so it can be presented to the leaders of this country to help them make the best decision. Are they perfect? No, of course not. But they are the best that this country has to offer. You know, and they come from, there used to be, you know, there was the old days, there was the Ivy League. No, not anymore. They're women, they're every ethnicity. You know, I've worked for women, I've worked for blacks, I've worked for Hispanics. You know, one of my best bosses was went to high school in Mexico because he got in his van and he drove there. And then, you know, so he spent some formative years in Mexico. He's a U.S. citizen, of course, but he was a great guy. And so all that experience created the person that I worked for. And I respected him then, I respect him to this day. And there's all kinds of unique stories like that. As I said, the best that this country has to offer, serve them in the agency, collecting intelligence, putting the country first, putting the citizens first to help our policymakers make the right decision or make the best decision on behalf of this country. And that's the service that I did for many years.
So I am deeply touched personally by what you just said, because first of all, it confirms something that I've, in my very being, believe, that the people that are attracted to work in certain places, like the CIA as an example, are dedicated not to money, dedicated to what you just said, America and the Constitution.
To an idea.
To an idea and the L word at the end, ideal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a good segue to talk about leadership. Let's talk about the L word, because that's really what I think you were talking about. It doesn't matter personal situation, what color, ethnicity, gender, it's all beside the point. Because when everybody works towards the same goal, the same idea, the same ideal, really what it's about is, how do I become the best leader in my particular world? Let's say I'm an agent, I'm in the CIA and I work with, pick a number, 4 other people. Well, by definition, you're going to have a group of 4 or 5 people. Somebody's a leader. And leadership may change. It might be like geese, you know, in the V, where there's a different person in charge all the time. However, the respect that one has for one another, that helps create good leaders. Is that not true?
Yes, and good leaders are created. They are created by the environment that they're in. I think your number that I usually, you pick the number 4, and then one has then just a leader, so you got 5 people. I think that's absolutely correct. It's very precise and accurate, because every group has to have a leader. And when you get a group that's too big, a leader becomes ineffective. So that's why you have, and in the agency, I can use an example. I mean, you have a branch. A branch might have 5, 6, 7 people in it. And then from that branch, you go up to a group. And that group might have 5, 6, 7 branch chiefs in it. And then that group will go up to the directorate. And the directorate might have 4, 5, 6 group chiefs in it. And so they have done a very good job in leadership. And I think what happened is, back in the 1960s, they kind of figured out that good operations officers do not necessarily make good leaders. And so they had to send their skilled and experienced operations officers to a variety of leadership schools. I was fortunate enough to go through 3 of them. The last one.
I'm going to make a funny joke. You went through 3 of them because you didn't pass the first 2, or you went to 3 of them because each one added another layer of goodness?
So you're a funny guy. So what you have is you have this level of folks that go to a leadership training. And then above that, once you get a little bit more experience working as a leader, doing different things in different jobs, they send you to this group. And then the third one is the SIS, Senior Intelligence Service Leadership School. And I was blessed to go to that. It's a week-long training academy. They have excelled at training their people and training their leaders. I recall it very specifically because they brought in Broadway actors and actresses. What do we need them for? They teach you how to communicate with people. And I had this one lady, I forget her name. She was very pregnant, but she was still very wonderful. Don't take me wrong. And her game was, okay, I'm going to tell you what mode to talk in. You keep telling me a story, but you change the mode to what I want you to speak. So you're talking, and she says humorous, sad, angry, and you have to change on a dime so that your whole presentation changes from being humorous to being angry, to being happy, or whatever it might be. But she took us through that exercise because she wanted us to practice different deliveries. Because when you're talking to a group of people, no matter how big, you have to have a variety of methods to deliver your message. And that's what she was really trying to teach us. And it was awesome. It was wonderful.
I want to unpack something here because, again, I always urge people, don't take notes. Everything is in the show notes. And the genius of what we have here is that it's recorded. So you can go back and listen, which you should. Because when you go back and listen, you're controlling the time. What you have just been offered and given as a gift is something that would probably take you years and cost you a lot of money to learn. That one piece, Jeffrey, because first of all, it stuck with you, didn't it?
Oh, heavens, yeah, that was 20 years ago at least.
Right. And the point of it is the ability for a leader to communicate. And to communicate means monotone doesn't work, giving orders doesn't work, being able to touch people, tickle them, or make them aroused or do something. So
you have to connect.
Yes, so this is beautiful. This is I am deeply touched, and I'm saying thank you to you for what you just shared with us. And bravo, by the way, to SIS for recognizing that that's one of the preeminent skills of show business is the ability to, if you can't communicate from the stage or from the screen or whatever, then what have you done? Nothing. You know, here's a script, read it. Okay, what is that? That's not communicating. I'm going to mention to you something that I think you like. As we said in the beginning of the show, we love acronyms, we love words and such like that. And so I'm going to share with you that the word leader, as you know, Leader, the same letters spell the word dealer. Because really what a leader is a dealer in hope. And hope is a great acronym. It stands for helping others progress every day. Because isn't that what a leader does?
Yes, sir.
Helps others progress every day. So a leader is a dealer in hope. Am I correct on that?
Yes, sir, absolutely. And the secret or the trick that you have to learn, and we've touched on it, is how do you connect with each individual? Because the way I connect with this person is going to be very different from the way I connect with that person, just because of their backgrounds. And so it's not their responsibility to listen to me. It's my responsibility to communicate with them, to help them see the point that I'm making. That means with this guy, I can use, a lot of 4-letter words and, real rowdy and what have you. But with this lady over here, if I do that, I would find myself unemployed for a variety of reasons. So I have to change my delivery. And a good leader can move between delivery mechanisms. I'm not claiming to be a great leader, just barely good leader, but I did learn you have to change your delivery to meet the requirements of the audience.
Again, this is so valuable. The reason people tune in to this show is because they gain something. And look what we're gaining right here. It is just so wonderful. The difference, the differential between a leader and a boss or a dictator is what you just mentioned. A leader, by definition, is one who communicates. A boss or a dictator is one who tells. And telling may or may not get the results you want. It may be that you can't in some certain unique situations. Unusual. The best way to communicate, and that's why you went to these 3 different schools and culminated in the SIS leadership, is the ability to learn how to work with people to bring out the best in them because they become your surrogates. Am I right?
Absolutely. It's not about what I can do or what I know or what I want. It's what can I do for the people who are working for me? That has to be my question every day of the week. What do you need to do your job? What are you lacking? Do you need more tools? Do you need more money? Do you need more paper? Yeah, whatever it might be. What do you need? And then how can I get that for you? It's not always going to be possible. If you come to me and tell me you need more money, it's going to be like, yeah, I don't control the budget. But if you need more people, maybe I can get some people. Who knows? So it's the leader has to say to his people, what do you need? I serve the people that I lead. It's not the other way around. They don't serve me. I serve them.
Do you all hear this? Again, this is part of what I call the American mindset. I'll give you an example. In the word communication, so it's a long word, COMMUNICATION, right? Communication. Notice that the U comes before the I. I learned that from my father when I was 9 years old. Quick story, I went out to shovel snow at 9 years old. I lived in Boston, Massachusetts, even colder than your Ohio, and I was happy to leave there and go to California. That's another story. As soon as I could. Okay, I went out with 9 years old. I called school off. I bundled up and said, I'm going to go shovel snow, make some money. My allowance was 25 cents a week, and I worked from 7:11 in the morning until 5:20 in the evening. The sun had already set. It was cold. Didn't stop for lunch. Ran 9 years old. Who cares? I made $55. And that was in, oh my gosh, that's 68 years ago. So it was a lot of money. And when I came home, my father was making me a hot chocolate, and he said to me, my dear beloved son, he used to love saying that, my dear beloved son, how do you spell business? I'm smart, 9 years old. I said, B-U-S-S-I-N-S-S, B-U-S-I-N-E-S-S. He said, that's right. Notice that the U comes before the I. Whenever you take care of other people, the I always gets taken care of. And I think that's what you're helping us understand, that you are in service as the leader to others, because what you've just done is you have, let's say, 5 people reporting to you. You just didn't just have 5 people report to you. You were able to exponentially grow your ability 5-fold. And if you're really good at what you do, these 5 beings are growing themselves, and they have others who are growing. So it's the American mindset of what we can do together is far greater than we could ever do individually, no matter what you are. And then there's a team. Together, everyone achieves miracles. Not together, everyone achieves more. Together, everyone achieves miracles. Am I right on that, Jeffrey?
Absolutely.
Woo! He keeps saying I'm right. That's okay. Well, we love Jeffrey for that. We're going to go on a commercial break in just a moment. When we come back, I'd like you to speak about what you're doing with the LA Tribune, Mo Rock, because he's a fine fellow with a great mission and an important presence in this world. And I think it's a good title for a book, something like Presence and Power. Oh, wow. We'll talk about that when we come back right after this brief message. Don't go away. Opportunity. What an opportunity. I'm going to use 2 4-letter words right now. Free gift. Free gift. Yes, you can have a copy of my best-selling book, The Joy of Living, How to Slay Stress and Be Happy, the ebook version for absolutely free. All you have to do is send an email to me, Barry, Barry, at barryshore.com, and in the heading, the subject line, just write free gift. It's as easy as that. This is a life-changing, life-enhancing opportunity. Barry at barryshore.com. You'll be glad you did. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Free gift. Do it now. Take the action. Make it happen right now. Best wishes. Bye. Good day. Beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good looking people. You're good looking, so I was looking for and finding the good. We found good in abundance. His name is Jeffrey Sanow, and he's talking about leadership, about service, about building communication channels. And we left him at a cliffhanger. He's going to talk to us now about a great book called Presence, not with a TS, but a CE, and Power, and how we communicated with an amazing guy named Mo Rock, who's the genius behind the LA Tribune, which is reshaping social media and the ability to communicate worldwide. Jeffrey, please talk to us about what's going on with you and Mo.
I had the good fortune to meet Mo when I first put my book out. He came across it, and he is familiar with the people at the Mindatorium, which is also out in Hollywood. He knows those folks. And so eventually I went out there and I did an interview with him. We're doing a series of interviews on leadership. So I had the good fortune to spend a great deal of time with him. He is quite a phenomenal character and just amazing. So between the two of us, we have put together a book called, what did you say? Power and Presence, I think?
Presence, Presence. Again, everything's in the show notes. Presence and Power.
Presence and Power. And what that book is, it's he and I outlining leadership. Because leadership is about both presence and power. A leader has to have presence of some sort. You know, Mickey Mouse would not probably make a good leader. But there are other characters that do make good leaders.
The Lion King.
There. What's that?
The Lion King.
The Lion King. There you go. So there's lots out there. So the whole idea is, what kind of experiences did we have as we learn leadership, and how can we apply it in different situations? And so that's basically what the book is about. He and I worked with another writer to pull it all together. And my understanding is it will be out, I think, sometime in early 2026. So the whole idea is, how do you present yourself as a leader? What's your presence? Does presence matter? Well, yeah, it does to some extent. But we have to be careful when presence becomes so important that it overwhelms what we're trying to do. And then it becomes ego. And nobody likes that. So, there's a fine line to walk. I've known, like I said, some great leaders in the agency. Guys, I'll just give you his first name was Kevin. I worked for him. He and I were colleagues, and then I worked for him in a number of jobs. And then after I got out, I also did some work for him back overseas, and we're still in touch. He's a great guy. He's the one who went to Mexico and did his high school year there or something like that. Got a VW van and drove down there. So he has that adventuresome spirit. And so what we have to try and do to achieve leadership is we have to go through struggles. As a Peace Corps volunteer.
I'm going to pause on that.
Sure.
I'll tell you why, because I'm loath to say these words. We're coming to a close on our time together. I have 3 quick questions for you, Jeffrey. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Number 1, will you come back again?
Absolutely. At your leisure.
Thank you. Number 2, Jeffrey Sanow, you have 80 seconds only to answer this question. What is your most fervent desire?
To be successful in supporting and working within my church.
We really have to explore in the next show then. And number 3, may I give you a hug in front of 531,900 people around the world?
Since it's over 500,000, I'll say yes.
Okay, so HUG stands for heartfelt, unlimited giving. Here we come. 1, 2, 3. Remember, you're listening to The Joy of Living, the humble host, Barry Shore, the ambassador of joy, and our amazing guest, Jeffrey Sanow. Remember, this show's not about Jeffrey, fabulous fellow that he is. What about Barry? Great guy. It's about you. Y-O-U. You becoming the best you, because when you are the best you make the world a better place. You build more bridges of harmony, create more joy, happiness, peace, and love as a leader for yourself, your family, and others. So listen again. Remember, 3 fundamentals of life. Number 1, life. Your life has purpose. You lead a purpose-driven life. You go mad. Mad stands for make a difference. Jeffrey's a madman, and so are you. Unlock the power in the sequence of everyday words and turn. WWW, what a wonderful world. Smile. Seeing miracles in life every day. As my 8-year-old niece says, seeing miracles in everyday life. Create the kind of world you want to live in, causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. Internalize, utilize, and leverage the 6 most important words you ever learn. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Use 4-letter words. Remember the ones we use: positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. Love, life, hope, play, free, gift. And tell the world to F you. Capital N, capital N. So you get people's attention. Say, what'd you learn? Wait till you share with them everything. Remember to say thank you 3 times a day, to harmonize and network kindness. Jeffrey, a blessing from you and from me. And that blessing is, go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference. Don't go away.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Joy of Living podcast. Now that's another step towards your healthier, happier, and wealthier life. Never hesitate to do good in the world, no matter what the situation. Join us for another upbeat discussion next time at barryshore.com. And be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to the show to get more conversations like this. And remember to share it with your family and friends too. See you on the next episode.